going? Go for a copyright strike to start us off then. Again. Why is it? Hold on, I think I've got something set up wrong. Getting confusing. Where's the? Normally folk have said hello by now and it's not showing. Why is it not? Oh, there we go. Ha! I had that turned off. I normally say hello to everyone as they come in. So Pontiac, Daniel, and Buster, and Billy. Oh, how's it going? I was just trying to work my way through Poison. Badly. Was it going? Where was it coming again?
I wanna kiss you, but my senses tell me to stop. But I want it too much. I put you back in the car and almost poison. I don't want it. These dreams that you're poison.
Not to be that interesting. It's really good. I don't even know if the solo's over those chords. In Neon Tetrahedron, I think I know I've played a little bit, and actually I can feel myself sweating already. I'm going to start my lucky. So, cheers everyone. Listen to the crack. Oh yeah. In fact, I'll give it a shake. Get the toenails in it. Does sound like Poison. Yes, well, hopefully YouTube doesn't think it sounds like Poison, otherwise I get demonetized, even though I forgot to turn on the monetization for this again. Damn it. Oh, that's good. Yeah, sometimes you just feel like a bottle of bucky. Don't look like one, but I feel like it. Hey Billy, getting right back into the guitar. Good stuff. Can't beat it. Today I've dug out. This was David asked me to. I think a couple of weeks ago he said, "Look at your Mockingbird," and then last week he said, "Did you look at your Mockingbird?" And I forgot. So this week I looked at my Mockingbird. So this one is painted by me. Hey Ruben, about a hot pink Marlin Mockingbird. The hot pink Mockingbird part of it sounds great. Marlins are a bit. I'm sure there probably are pretty good ones. I had a couple that was what were they called? State of the Art series. They were quite good. I mean, their P basses seem to be pretty good. I've played a few Marlin P basses that are really good. I think the acoustics are all right. It's the sort of Strati. The Strati electrics are a bit heavy and not very good. I think it's probably what's wrong with it. Hey Jeff, watching. I don't know who Aranthi is. Aranthi you're watching Alice Cooper? Is Aranthi the guy from Glasgow? When I saw him at the Hydro, or was it the SCCC? Probably not that long ago, maybe 5-6 years ago. It was a Scottish guy in the band apparently, and Nita Strauss and him were dancing about all over the place using wireless guitar things. And then for the last couple of songs, on came one of I can't remember his name, Dennis Dunaway or Michael Bruce. I can't remember which one was the guitarist, playing a Yamaha SG with a Marshall stack, and his sound was 10 times better than what everyone else had. But that's maybe because he was a special guest, so was getting a special mix. So it's a much louder than everyone else mix. AXXX Paps. Yeah, so got there talking about Marlins. They're cheap enough. I do like the fact we've got a fish on the 12th fret sometimes. Oranthe is female. I don't know who Orianthe is then. Another guitarist. I know they definitely had Lita Strauss or whatever it is playing the Ibanez. Actually, the Ibanez probably quite like that one. Hey, Bobby. Sorry, Rob. Recovered from the other day with a. You'll see it this week. We went for a bit of a trek in the car. It turned into a bit of an adventure. A few things went wrong. It was good fun. And I found a tenner in the middle of the road. Like doing 30 mile an hour. Going past the golf course. And I was like, pure, what's that? It was like, I saw something. I was like, pure, I can't even a tenner. And I looked in the rearview mirror. There's something, must be a slight flicker light hit off it or something. I was like, here. So I said to Rob, I was like, right. Slammed the brakes on, reversed all the way, reversed about 200 yards. That just humour me. Make sure that wasn't a tenner that I just saw float across the road. And it was. Amazing. Marlins were not Welsh made, but they do say Wales on the back of some of them because the import company was Welsh. They were always... no, they weren't always Korean. I think the earliest ones were East German. If you see them kicking about, I had one that I painted green, put lots of pickups in. I got lots of abuse for making a Celtic coloured guitar. It was basically just green with white pickups. I wasn't thinking that way. But and then after that, I think the importer was in Wales. I've never actually owned one that said Wales on it, so I don't know whether they're exactly the same as the ones that came later. But I'm pretty sure they weren't Welsh. I'm pretty sure they were just. It was Wales who the distributor was, or the importer. The same way that Westfield are Scottish, and apparently so are Jim Deacon Scottish. And it's like, yeah, sort of. Found it hard to find Pacifica with maple fretboard. Was it you? Somebody was talking to me about that the other day. Or maybe I just saw one that said rare with maple fretboard. But I mean, Pacificas are awesome. No problems with them at all. Hey, Scott! Just for doing that video with me yesterday. I did. I think it was quite funny. It worked pretty well. Hey, Def, my phone. A knowledgeable chap. I'll tell you things. Whether they're true or not, it's kind of, I think they're true. But I don't have scientific backing for most of it. Just kind of me thinking. Orianthe was a guitarist before Nita. Really? All right. I don't know. I remember getting right. I really liked the Alice Cooper, the Eyes of Alice Cooper album. Disconnected my Xbox. I really thought the album was good, and I bought the one after it as well. Dirty Diamonds. Thought they were really good. Hey, Stephen. Yeah, I'll get on to the Ibanez essay. I've done a video for it, but I've not put it out yet. I'm coming out on Trade Tuesday, I think. Did a wee bit of trade for that. That's why I was out in the car with Rob the other day. But for 2 more minutes, I want to talk about my Mockingbird scene as I looked it out. You can see there's a sort of a bad looking bit there. That's because when I got this, it was 2 humbuckers, volume, tone, maybe 2 volumes and a tone and a 3-way switch. But if you look at the back, the cavity is massive. So I thought, I'm going to be one of those folk that's got a Mockingbird with lots of switches in it. So I put 7 switches in. And annoyingly, I didn't drill the holes straight, so they always looked rubbish. But each pickup had its own volume. There was a master tone. Each pickup had its own on-off phase switch. And each pickup had its own single coil, humbucker, parallel wired single coil. And it just became like a synthesizer to operate. So I basically bunged it up. And I've now got volume, 3-way switch, tone for the 2 pickups, and then this is another volume which just goes in line with the 3-way, so you can't have the middle pickup on its own, but you can blend it in. And it was playing it earlier on for the first time in about a year, probably. Thinking, oh, it'd be nice to have some thinner sounds, maybe thinking I put 1 switch in, the coil splits all 3. But then I noticed that the middle pickup's got a phase on it. So I get all this sort of and get thinnish sounds. All 3 pickups on. You can't hear that because the sound's always really bad in the live things. Even though using the same mic, it must compress it or something like that. Yeah. But I'll move on to the Ibanez SA. Got a few guitars. Actually, a bit of if I remember, if I don't get too stable, I'll get a t-shirt competition later on. What am I doing? Turn this off. I've got another new guitar I've built. Add it into me. Oh no, it doesn't have a strap on it. Well, I'll just have to hold it. Yeah, so this is my latest. I got from my pal John. I swapped it for a Les Paul. It's an Ibanez SAS 36 FM. Yeah, so we've got like a sort of 2-point trem. I'm going to say like a Strat trem, but no, really. A true dual bucker pickup, which is like it's got 3 coils in it. So when you coil tap it with a volume control, like you would expect, it uses, in humbucker mode, it uses these 2 coils, and in tapped mode, it uses this coil and the secret one that's in below it. So you get like a hum cancelling stack single coil, 5-way switch. It's quite thin and curvaceous, and it's got basically no neck join, really. Yeah, it's fun. Can I be bothered? I probably can't. Yeah, I can't bother putting a strap on it. If I could find one, easy to find. There's one. Okay, we're back on. Bear with me a second. Hey, JP. And then a much shorter strap than that. Enough. Love the input jack on this as well. Great position for it. Ibanez make me try and shred though, just purely more because of what it looks like, although it does have a really thin neck and it's really sleek. It's the same size as a guitar, but it's because it's thin and it's really carved, it really feels there's much less of it. Best thing since we used to watch Bullseye. Well, I used to watch Bullseye. This is genuinely true, to see what kind of boat was in it at the end. Like, you used to always see them. There would always be some family who lived, landlocked, centre of England, council house, and they won like a Fletcher 16-foot speedboat with I'm trying to remember, was it Mercury that used to do the engines for Fletcher? Used to get a package. Yeah, just fantastic looking speedboats. Never really understood the show, but that was back in the day when, before my time, really. It's hard to explain to kids these days. I was trying to explain to somebody, in fact it was David the other day, about that people used to watch rubbish on the telly because there was nothing else on telly. It was like there only were like 4 or 5 channels, and I remember on a Sunday it was basically horse racing that was on. That was on 3 of the channels. It was just horse racing and nothing else. You're like, and then you end up sitting watching. 2 pounds heavier than a meringue. I think you're probably right. Yeah, I've never lived in a country. I've just lived in the last house and then this one. Always these things, Jeff. I agree. It's like, mind you, I don't know. I always remember whenever you buy a new kind of car or whatever. Not me. Whenever my dad, when I was a kid, you buy a new kind of car. It's like, this time we're getting a Volvo 240. And it's like, oh, they showed me a picture. It's like, never seen one of them, and as soon as you go out now, you're aware of them. Every third car appears to be a Volvo 240. And the same thing happened when I got my Fiat Panda. There was like, oh, there's no Pandas, and they were just everywhere. Maybe an element of that is what I think is maybe happening, but then it's a hard to fault guitar. It's really fancy. It's got like it's got binding like my Washburn Eagle does. But I think the difference, if you go back, even at that point, in the sort of around about 1980, if you go back earlier than that, when you got your fancy Gibson, somebody had to chisel that out. Whereas obviously on something like this, it must be put on by a CNC router, and it must add a fiver to the cost of the guitar or something. I'm sure they've done their sums. I don't think these were that expensive guitars to start with. Not premium. I think they're 300-400, that kind of range. I've not actually looked them up. I'm looking for them for sale. They seem to go for about 250 or something like that. So maybe 400 new, something like that. It really, and it's just like as a tool, which a lot of modern Ibanez are, it's untouchable really as a tool. It's like all the design features that are on the £2,000 one are just here. It's just made a little bit cheaper, just by using less materials, and it doesn't have the Seymour Duncans and all that. But all the principles are there. You really can't go wrong buying a new Ibanez. I'll say you, this is 2006 or something, so I'm classing that as new. I do like the old Ibanez. I've got my Ibanez Blazer. It's 1981 or 1982. That era's good, and then the sort of late 70s are expensive but good. This one does not have a wizard neck. I did the video earlier on. I can't remember what the other kind of neck is. I know this because I used to have a catalogue at the back. Told you. I want to say is it an Elite? There's another. It's another carve. It's not as square. It's probably a little bit deeper, but it doesn't feel it because it's really thin and Ibanez-y, but a wizard neck is really square feeling. It's got big shoulders on it. This does not have big shoulders. Great. Oh. It's a quiz of the week. Yeah, quiz of the week is what does the Switch do? But I'll get to that. Oh my god, I've got 24. I'll do it after I've talked about this guitar. Yes, I do remember. My favourite car my dad ever had was a State. I can't remember the serial number, the Reggie number, B655HSF. So it was a B-Reg, and this thing had alloy wheels, Go Faster stripes. It was an Estate, and I always liked this is back in the day when you didn't really get 5-gear cars that often, so it had a switch in the middle of the gear stick, which kind of looked like an ejector seat button or like a turbo button or something, but it was some way of engaging 5th gear or overdrive or whatever it was called. And it had the electric windows. I think it might even have had electric windows in the back, because obviously I was sitting in the back most of the time. I love that car. The Back to the Future one is a Rhodes. I don't know what you said. You've written Star. It's whether a star or stare. I think stare is more common. I think there are both. His was an RS 500, RS 400 and something. All black. My Blazer is earlier than that, and my Ibanez Roadster is 1986. It's the last year they made Roadster, so my one kind of looks not quite like this, but somewhere between a Roadster and this kind of thing. His is Marty McFly's is one where it's still very much strat shaped, but it's got like a Floyd Rose. Basically, it's kind of the one that's your Marlin Sidewinders. That's what they were copying. They were kind of copying Marty McFly's Ibanez Roadster, with Huey Lewis in the news being the guy who says, "You're too loud, get out," like the teacher who's just auditioning them. I think everyone must know that, but when I first heard it, I was like, yeah. So 24 folk on. Let's have a look at t-shirt competition. If you pay for the postage, you get a free t-shirt, or if you come pick it up, that's fine. Or just if you're in America or something, I don't know. We'll work out something. Now again, nab the strap off this one. This is what I built this last night. I was messing about, and this is the one that had been coloured in to look a bit like Van Halen's, but like it was pastel colours. Well, the tea cup that I was drinking before in the profile pic took off that brilliantly, so I've now got a cream Strat. So the question is, you win a t-shirt? First correct answer. It's got a Strat, right? Yeah. So I'll put a Telecaster neck pickup in it. This is the volume control. This is a two-way switch. What does it do? Go. See if anyone tries to answer it. It's only got one switch in it. And that's it. So what does it do? Yeah, the Land Rover's gone. But then I'll get another one at some point. I'll get a 110 that I can sleep in the back of. I think it was only a 90. On off, good chance, not quite. It's too vague. Yes, it does turn on off, but it doesn't just. It's not a kill switch. Basically, hey Max, how's it going? Yeah, excellent subscriptions. I'm kind of doing well. I'm almost ready to replace my cardboard handmade YouTube award thing for originally 1,000, then 1,500, and now I'm kind of approaching 2,000, I think. Pickup selector. You both kind of right. So hold on, we're getting good answers here. Humbucker, single coil, single spoil. You're half right, and switches between the front and back pickup. You're half right. Pickup selector. It's too vague, but you're right. It switches stuff. See, you've all just said it switches stuff. What does it actually do? Look, I've got two pickups and a switch, just a two-way switch, and that's all it's got. Now, this isn't a secret one. This is just a volume control. It doesn't have any pushy pull things. It seemed like a really good idea to me. So. Sorry, Jim, but those t-shirts were on special run because they're misprints. They're meant to say Mad Malco guitars, and you only say Mad Malco. So I think I got 10, and I've given most of them away. There is no small, but there is a large. There was a medium, but I gave it away. Not phase, Ravensmead. Keep going. Free t-shirt for grabs, but it's only extra large or medium or large. Sorry. Once they're gone, I will buy and I'll get the same guy to make proper t-shirts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find that towel I was using the other day because I'm already sweaty monster. There we go. Just from having to have the window closed. Switching between both and bridge only. Oh, you're so close. You're so close. It's close. So technically, everyone's right. Yeah, as a switch, it does turn things on and off. But as you get, Craig's nearly won it. It does more than just switch between that. It does something else, but it does that as well. Oh, Billy, you've won a free t-shirt. Oh, hold on. Oh no, sorry. Background. Ruben's neck pickup on of the coils from the bridge to humbucker. I think that might be right. What it does basically, it's run as a humbucker, and if you switch this switch, it uses half the humbucker and this to make a sort of Telecaster in the middle switch. So you've got like a bit more noticeable without distortion on. So you get humbucker, and then you've got. Yeah, so Ruben Benedict, message Mad Malco Guitars on Facebook, and I'll send you a t-shirt. Billy, I'm sorry I read yours out first. The one above you says the same thing. You've written it down better. Front coil on bucker and neck pickup is perfectly correct. It is actually the front coil I'm using because these are the two that are hum cancelling. But this guitar turned out really well. I was really excited making it. I've got a scratch plate off Scott there the other day that was it just had the single bucker in it, and I was sitting there thinking, maybe so it's volume control. I was like, do something else. What would if I put a switch in? What would I want the switch to do? The obvious thing is to split it, and it's like, yeah, but the thing is, you're already on a single bucker, so the split one, although it's good, it gives you another sound. You kind of want more of a. I was thinking middle position on a telly is what you want as your other sounds. Hey, Cameron. Billy, I'll give you a t-shirt. You're not a big chap though. T-shirts are only large or extra large. I'll give you. I'll owe you one anyway. I'll give you a t-shirt. Anyway, you've been here that long. Hey Cameron, I think you might quite like. What do you get this guitar? I'm going for a sort of like one of your kind of basically the Squire 51, I suppose. This is the two best sounds that the Squire 51 has. Humbucker on its own, both pickups on with a humbucker split. I always feel with a Telecaster neck pickup, when you've got the Telecaster on its own, neck pickup on its own, it's a bit rubbishy sounding. So, but the middle position is always awesome. And basically, I'm going for it as looks. I did it. I was actually going to put a cover on that pickup, but I didn't find it until today. So I was thinking of putting that on it, which I thought might look quite cool. But before yesterday, that was a case of sticking that on, taking an extra 2 seconds, soldering it onto the back, putting the pickup in. Now I've got to take the guitar to bits to put it on, so I can't be bothered doing that now. You've seen and bought some. What we're missing out something here. Get caught up a little bit. Bucky's going down awful smoothly. I'll have to say that for a start. I can already feel that bottle being pretty light. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Those Westtones you talk about are £200. They are now. Yeah. They're not all that way, but the ones that everyone knows about are. I remember not buying a Westtone Thunder for 80 quid because I just decided I didn't really want it on Gumtree. It's like, and I think it was in Kirky as well. It's like, now they're too. I mean, I sold the last one. I sold it to a pal Ronnie. I think even then I gave it to him at a good price. You know, like less than what they're going for, because it was a Thunder. Thunders are more expensive than the Spectrums, but yes, they are. The prices have just shot up. I remember. I mean, we're not going back that far. When I was first internety, not even as much as 10 years ago, Westtones were 80 quid for one that worked and it was a good nick, sort of thing. And then you could maybe pick them up for 40, 50 quid with. The thing about Westtones is you never found them upgraded, because what you're going to put tuners that are better than Goat tuners on it. You're going to put better than a Bedmaster bridge on it. You know, and it's like, and the pick, everything on them are just absolutely rock solid guitars, but a bit ugly. Actually, everyone who comes in here says, "Oh, that's a nice one." I think it's just because of the way the light hits it. Because of when it's sitting there in the sunlight, the sun hits it. It kind of looks. It's a stunning guitar. The only thing that lets this one down, I got a bit of buyer's remorse about it because I bought it because it's this blue sunburst, silver to blue, because I've got a Westtone Prestige, which is the pink version, so it's like silver to pink or silver to red, rose I think it might be called. But I mean, that's a solid guitar. It looks like a Thunder, but it's actually one of the first ever. 1 year, the Spectrum was just this model, and then this is 1984, isn't it? In 1985, the range was called Spectrum, and they're not quite this shape anymore. This is basically a Concorde, but in 1984 they changed the Concorde to thingy. In 1983, I still think this might have been the first ever production guitar. It was HSH layout. When it was called a Westtone Concorde 3, but then in 1984 they changed the name to Spectrum 3. But at the same time, and also in 1983, they did an SHS model, which never caught on the same way. But I think the year before this, the previous model, which was basically exactly the same, but it's silver hardware, didn't have push-pull pots, it switches instead, and not this paint job, was the first ever HSH guitar. Maybe. Steve Vai gets credited with it, but I mean, that's 1987. It was definitely before that. Oh, right, hold on. I've been talking too much. I got caught up. Here we go. Oh. Here, Mark. Here, my phone. Here, Mark. You know anything about an Epiphone Les Paul 1988? Practically unknown model. Not 1, 2, 3. Has Gibson type headstock. All black fixed neck. Just got one. Seems rare. Samet, come here. If it's got a Gibson headstock, there was round about that time Japanese made Epiphones for the Japanese market. I don't think they were meant to come over here, so it might not be Samick. It might be a Japanese one. They do exist, you know, with basically the Les Paul, the proper Gibson headstock on them. So that could be what you've got. It wasn't cheap. The one I saw, I can't remember exactly how much it was. It wasn't as expensive as any Gibson Les Paul, but it wasn't far off it. So it might be Japanese. 88 right at the very start when Samick were making things, or if they even did make them in 88. I'm not sure. I could pass. But I mean, it could be that Japanese one. I'll check that out. How should you take care of your guitar? How often should it be cleaned, and what to use to clean them? How often should I get new strings? Maintenance. The strings I buy are elixirs. They're £12 or £13 a pack, and they've got a rubber coating on them, which means that if you're gigging every week, sort of thing, they're probably not going to last that much longer than a set of normal strings. But if you're playing the guitar and then leaving it hanging on the wall for 6 months, and then playing it for a couple of weeks, and then leaving it hanging on the wall for a year, and then playing it, they just seem to last for ages. I mean, the strings that are on that Mockingbird tonight must be coming up on a decade old. And the wound strings still look good. The thin strings are all a bit rusty, but you can wire wool them a bit, kind of get a bit of life back into them, but they don't die the same way. Really, it's when they need them. If it's going to be a guitar you're not playing much, if you put elixirs on it, they should almost last indefinitely. They will wear out with heavy gigging. Eventually they start to fray, but they don't wear out from just hanging on the wall or just sitting there. So basically, I would buy them. The other thing with any other strings is, as soon as you leave it for a month and come back to it, they've kind of died a bit. You can sort of bring them back to life again by battering away at it and playing it for an hour, but they kind of die. If you're going to play every week or every day, then I don't know, just change the strings once a month or something like that. It kind of depends how much you sweat on that. I've heard of folk, I've had some guitars off folk who've got like a blood, an acidic sweat thing, and it's like you just see the bridge and it's like it's totally gone, and you're like, what the hell? Did you have it lying, like on the beach with the waves hitting it? And it's like, and you're looking at it, and it's like, and the guitar's 7 years old, and it's like totally rotted away just because some folks sweat that way. I mean, I sweat, but obviously I don't have acidic sweat, or I don't have sweat that really attacks guitar strings. And basically to clean them, I'd use a cloth, really. Just wipe it down and elbow grease, really. Really, I mean, to be honest, some of the ones I've had, I do actually have them, strip it down. So assuming, Rob, you're not wanting to take the guitar to bits, but soapy water, but I would take all the electrics out before you did that, and basically just spend ages doing it and just get it as shiny as you can. That's really it. It makes some difference. I was using teacup earlier on this guitar. He's on tonight. I can't remember what your this is a satellite guitar, and it was absolutely minging and looked like it was just like I'd been sitting full of fungus. And that black teacup I was drinking made a hell of a difference. I mean, you can see it scratched, but I mean, you could see these scratches from space before. Really reduced it down. And I think that's actually just going to end up being quite a nice little Les Paul. I do actually have pickups that would be similar to what would be original on this. This is the fake Buckers, but instead I just went for normal Buckers. I've not wired it up yet. I've found all the bits and kind of found the bits put together, but there's just still all the wires are just hanging at it. So that could be an interesting one. Hopefully get a video of that out this week. Clean it up. Yeah. Basically just wiping it, cleaning it. I have used WD-40 before to clean off particularly stubborn stains, and if you're taking off stickers, use lighter fluid. I was using that earlier on for something. We're taking... Oh, it was this. Actually, it was worked really well. I didn't have the poker chip thing, the thing that says rhythm treble on it. And there was obviously glue residue from when this guitar had that on it. And I was trying to find something to use, and then I was like, actually, can I just clean off the glue? I can. Doesn't need a poker chip. So the next donor can put one on if they want. But yeah. Oh, lots of questions, lots of sweating. Fantastic. Yes. Just bought a wee Varso AVT20 valve state. Valve state, it's got a valve in it. Valve state or base state, technically the same as valve state. So it does actually have an actual valve. I had I think it might have been an 80 watt or a 50 watt I was given that didn't work, and I resoldered the input jack back onto it, and it works, and I sold it. It was so big. It was ridiculous. Back in the day, when you got the Marshall valve states, like we're talking about 1998 would be when I would be looking at buying these sort of amps when I was just starting out, just played the guitar for a couple of years. And the Marshalls were much better than all the other makes. They had that, even the 12-watt one somehow had that Marshall sound in there. Not saying it sounds exactly like a JCM 800, but there's elements of the AC/DC and all that in it. 20 watts probably a good size as well. Again, I mean, I'm a tube snob now, but if you're talking about like a wee 20 watt thing, I mean, I bet you it probably wasn't that expensive either, but I mean, I bet you it's really good. And 20 watts probably right on the verge of almost being giggable. Yeah, and it'll have a really good distortion tone on it, which I think was maybe the difference between that and all the other ones at the time. The distortion on the valve states, and I'm really only talking about the 12 watt, the 20 watt, and the 30 watt. Was it a 30 watt one? I used to teach a guitar to a wee guy, and he bought a 30 watt valve. I don't know if it was a valve state. Marshall was quite small, and this thing was, I mean, see, the volume and the gain at maximum, you could play along with a drum kit and a bass, and it sounded really good, like pure surprisingly. This amp's amazing. It wasn't an expensive one, so kind of similar to that. Westtones were great, but it's just the problem is people are now knowing what they are, so they're no longer. Oh, I'm getting. Oh dear. I need to do some serious talking. I've got caught up. Right, Westtones are great. See Westtones advertised in Europe, none in the USA. That's because you got Electras instead. We didn't get Electras. If you go later on, I think some models squeezed across some of the more obscure shapes, but you do get a Westtone, an Electra. I want to say it's called a Phoenix, which basically is a Westtone Spectrum. It's not. They don't have any that are exactly the same, but it's the same body shape and the same neck and the same factory and the same color, but they maybe don't have an HSH one. They've got an HSS one instead, but one exactly the same as mine kind of thing. And that would be like sort of 84, 85 when the two, you got Westtone, they became the same thing, whereas before they were Electra, but it was still the same factory making them. I think you might have got Raiders in America. That's the one. I've got an Explorer shaped one that's really spiky and pure amazing. That's a Westtone. Yeah. And those Matsumoto ones, well, they are. It's Matsumoto. All Westtones are Matsumoto up until 1987 for a couple of years when they went to Korea. But all the Thunders, I think, all the Concords, Raiders, the Clipper 6s, the Prestiges, they're all Matsumoto. Basically, if you look on the back of the headstock, there's a serial number, and it's the first number is what year it is in the 80s. So that one starts with a 4, being 1984. You know, if it was 1983, it would start with a 3. And if it's a Korean one, it's likely to be a bit more modern looking, have a sort of pointy headstock, and it won't say Made in Japan on it, whereas all the Westtones pretty much say Made in Japan Matsumoto or Made in Japan a Matsumoto product. But those were the cheap ones. I mean, they weren't expensive. New at the time. It's like the one I really want is called a Paduk, which was I think was their first cheap guitar, and they came in at 129 quid or something. And I was talking to a guy before, and he used to work in guitar shops at that time, and they just couldn't believe that Westtone Paduk. So it was like 130 quid. For 130 quid, you could basically buy that satellite. That was kind of your only option. And then when you started getting up to like a real Les Paul was like 600-700 quid, and they're coming out with a £120 guitar that was arguably as good as a Fender, or like just it was pro level, put it that way. It didn't have weak bits on it, whereas anything, you know, back then it wasn't that common to get a guitar for under 200 quid that had decent tuners or a decent bridge or decent pickups. And all the Westtones, every one of them always had Gotoh built decent everything, basically. Fantastic guitars. Oh, same shape as an Aria. I don't know what I've obviously missed something out. I see Westtones shapes and that. It could be because Aria were made by Maybe. Made same factory. It was the same person that made that as made that. That's an Arbiter, and that's an Aria Pro 2, and they're 10 years apart, but made in the same building, you know. Got my Spectrum for 39 about 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't 2 years ago. That was an absolute steal. Getting a Spectrum for 40 quid. It was longer ago than I got a Spectrum that I painted orange. I didn't keep it because it was too similar to another one I had. Fantastic guitar, not as good as some of the other Westtones I've got. It was a Spectrum. Something I don't like about the shape of a Spectrum. It's not quite right. I much prefer the Thunder shape, which is what the Concorde does, even though it's basically the same guitar. But for 40 quid, I mean, it's like, what you can say. I paid 40 quid for one, and I think most of it was there. I think the paintwork was really bad. It was all chipped. Someone had tried to chisel the paint off or something like that. No, but I mean, after the parts were on it, so I'm pretty sure I got the tuners, I got the bridge, and I'm pretty sure I got the pickups. Or I got one of the pickups, only had one pickup in it. But I mean, you know, I figured that was an absolute bargain. It was a DX, which is the Bendmaster bridge, HH, and not a locking Bendmaster. I mean, they used to be a bit all the time. Now, I mean, eventually people are going to start realising that if you're buying basically any Westtone pre-1986, you're looking at the best of the Squire guitars, Fender Mexican, that level, basically. If you can pick them up for 39 quid, how can you possibly do anything else? Bucky is going down well, and Leicester Square during the football. Yeah, you get such a skewed view of what you see. I don't watch the news anymore, so I watched things come up on Facebook, and it's showing you all the Scottish fans cleaning up the litter after, and you're just like, it's a bit on the other side. I'm sure maybe some of them did just for a photo, but I don't know. Jess, face parallel for the 2 pickups. No, what? It's sorry, the t-shirt's gone. It's like got further on. So basically, it's a bridge humbucker and then a coil. One of the coils of this and the neck bucker. So it's kind of like a bit like the middle position in a Telecaster or humbucker in a bridge. But yeah, watch out for Bart Simpson headstock. You'd be mocking my Tony Iommi SG, which does. I mean, it's like once you've seen it, it is a Bart Simpson headstock. I'm sorry, I'm getting on with this. It's getting there. I've got the badass bridge on it. I've got the knobs in it. I can't use the genuine John Birch pickup rings, annoyingly, because they don't fit. Because where the bridge is, I think the bridge pickup on a Gibson must be further up this way, not as close to the bridge. That one, the bridge is pretty much sitting on top of the pickup rings, and the pickup rings for it are just an ashtray and pour it with my foot, are that thick. So really, there's no option, which is pretty unfortunate. But I will make it work. I'll try and do it. Is that a new view in the wall from my old bits? Sorry, no, but that was the reason I had it out from your old bits was so you saw your satellite. I was looking at the headstock and seeing if there was any way of cutting the Les Paul headstock into that. This is my Arbiter, which is again Matsumoto built. It was in a terrible state when I bought it. Basically, I bought this pickup and the rest of the guitar in the case was free, or I bought the case and everything was free, or I bought the tuners and everything else was less than 30 quid. And I bought the pick. It basically ends up being free. That's a fantastic. The reason I've never really entertained keeping any other Flying Visas because this is the one I wanted. It's fantastic. Gibson Dirty Fingers pickup. And those tuners are Grovers, but back in the day, Grovers were different from what we get. I mean, Grovers are good pickup, good tuners, but the ones that are on that are super mega good. That's the guitar that's the same as James Hetfield's white one that he used on the first few Metallica albums. His was branded Electra, apparently, though. And all you need to do is change the truss rod cover to say Gibson, and you've got James Hetfield's one and paint it white, obviously. No, but I'm still not 100% decided what I'm going to do with your V. I was looking at it. Whether I can just keep that Les Paul neck on it, I'm not sure. Think about it. No, it's not yet decided. Gilmore switch. Yeah, sorry, I think you've probably caught up, but yeah, the Gilmore switch. Well, yes, it kind of is. It's a Gilmore switch and a coil split. Oh, Fender versus Tokai. Best 80s strats. I don't know. The only Tokai, I'm going to say, is it the one I've ever had? I do have a BC Rich Wave built by Tokai, but the only Tokai I've got is a Mag series, which is a Stratocaster. It's fantastic from the 80s, but it's got a carbon fiber neck and the body's, it doesn't say plastic in the advert. They call it future graph or something like that, but it's basically plastic. And it's really good. Tokai are one of the ones that people have heard of, so they're not expensive. Also, they are expensive. Also, Tokai have been reissued recently in the last 10 years or whatever it is, or 20 years. So you get, it's Tokai SG. Are they not Japanese and amazing? And then it's like it's only 150 quid or 200 quid because it's a Chinese one. So the name has cheapened itself of late. It's Fender Japan. I mean, the only Fender I've got electric guitar is it's Fender Japan, which is the same as, it's more like these two sort of thing than anything else, or that Mockingbird. Yeah. You recently switched to flat wounds. My drummer Rob there, sent me a video on how to play like Geezer Butler. I was a bit insulted. I've been playing in your band for 2 years now. I can play it, but the one thing I wasn't getting was I didn't realise he used flat wound, so maybe I'll give it a go at some point. But he also said use old strings and tune it down and all these other things and put notes to play, which I kind of did everything else apart from the flat wound strings things. Just because one time years ago when I was in my first proper band, I bought flat wounds for my EBO, and they went rusty. And the way they went rusty was pure finger shredding. So I just never bought them again. Also, flat wounds on a short scale EBO, maybe not the best thing to do. I keep missing my questions. Do you big guitars? I do keep missing your questions. Have I missed any? I don't know. I need to. Keep missing my questions. Sorry. If they're in the thing, mate, I'll have a skip through at the end, right, and make sure I didn't miss any. If I do miss something, and I'm kind of if you scroll through the chat, you'll see where you are. You can ask it again. Sorry. It's like, I'll try and do it. I'm just too popular. It's like, which is great. I do buy a lot of guitars with bad paintwork. The thing is, I can't really do good repairs. I can only do bad ones. I can paint it like the dip finish was quite good because it doesn't have to be good, or paint it bucky colours or iron brew colours. But I couldn't paint a guitar black and make it look like it was black from the factory. It's amazing how much you can get out of things by polishing them and cleaning them, and maybe that sort of thing. I mean, people pay extra money for relics. I'm not bothered. Most of my guitars are all dented and bashed, and that's why I got them cheap. It's still the same guitar. You just get used to the fact it's got lumps in it. I use lemon oil to clean my guitars. Yes. Yeah, I've been using it recently. It made a huge difference to the fretboards on that Satellite. Lemon oil. I was always against lemon oil because I was using stuff called Dr. Stringfellow's something, and this stuff was, I don't know if it was concentrated or something, but it burnt your eyeballs, and you almost feel like alien blood from Aliens. It was kind of like that on your skin. This stuff was pure solid. Whereas a couple of weeks ago, a pal said, I do want lemon oil the fretboard was setting up his guitar. As a bottle in there, I've got hundreds of bottles, so you can have that. And it was like modern stuff, and it was so much better. To definitely use it for cleaning the rosewood fingerboards. Fantastic. I've not tried it on anything else. I'd be worried about eating into, maybe not nitro finish, but probably be fine. Anything I've got is fine, basically. best 80s Les Paul Love Rock, possibly, yes. So I think nobody else is really in the 80s. Nobody else was making Les Pauls. Maybe your Orvilles. Oh, we're going back. Sorry, I'm Craig. I'm so far behind here. It's like we're talking about acidic sweat. Yeah, I get holes in my underpants. Yeah, in the 80s, my first bought a guitar, I was told to buy a Satellite, Hondo, or Marlin. But that's you comparing it. They were at least guitars. There are guitars you could get as opposed to like buying like an Audition, you know, like your Tiesco looking ones from Woolworths, which were you couldn't. It's not a guitar basically. They're not too bad. But I'm not trying to clean the bucket. Would that not go sticky? Vintage make great Les Paul copies. For another one, mine was Black and Ancient. We beat that after called Lola. Yeah. Vintage do make great Les Paul copies. I swapped one recently, and I've got a vintage, the Zip it's called, through there, which is like a sort of Les Paul Junior with two single coils, kind of right next to each other, kind of basically like a sort of like a West Tone Clipper, if you know what that is. I'm trying to catch up here. I bought an Ibanez Cherry Red Flying V 72 on eBay, which found out belonged to a Rockstar, and sold it back to him. The Ibanez Cherry Red Flying V 1972 could have. It's possible it's that exact guitar, or not. You know, the exact factory. It's about the right time, and Ibanez. We're buying things from various places. It's possible it's the same one. The pickup in the neck of that is an Ibanez one. It's a Maxon. It's not original to the guitar. So that's cool. I wonder which Rockstar talking about. I'll take the Tokai. Greco versus Tokai Les Paul. I don't know. I've never seen Grecos are expensive. Grecos and Orville, Edwards. These are expensive guitars. So they don't fit into my West Tone are kind of sneaking out of the expensive, out of the cheap range a little bit now. And Aria Pro. Anyway, JP Devon. Oh, I've actually caught up. Yes, okay, I've caught up. Yeah. I'll scan back after this, see what I missed off you, Craig. Eric's produced Aria Pro 2 Strat copies. Aria, it depends when it's from. Some of the early ones look fantastic, like that era. That's been handy having that. I pointed at that, referenced it a few times in this video. That era, Aria Pro 2 did make Strat copies, and they look fantastic. I've never played one. They're generally not that cheap. Later on, as in just now, I think they still make Strat copies. Maybe not quite Strat copies. I think they've got like a wee extra swirl here in the scratch plate sort of thing. But I mean, yeah, they're great. Aria, again, kind of like your Yamaha and Ibanez, have to fight for their sales. So if you play an Aria against the same price Epiphone or the same price Squire, it will be a better guitar because they've got to beat it, whereas the Squire and Epiphone are just lazy and know that people are going to buy it. It's a Rosewood Strat. People will buy it anyway. It doesn't need to be good, whereas I bet you could buy the Aria one for either £100 less, which is exactly the same quality level, or you buy it for the same price and it's much better. Yes, I think what you find about the Korean, when Samick started making the Korean stuff, their necks are fantastic. The bodies are, this could actually be a Samick built guitar. It doesn't say on it. It's got some of the hallmarks from it though. It's got like a really solid tone plywood body and a really, really good neck. I don't have any of the hardware, which might not have been good. It might have been good. I don't know. We tended to get in the late 80s, the cheapest guitars had bad hardware, and the more expensive, and the sort of mid-price upwards had like branded hardware. So if you got like an Aria Pro or a Washburn from sort of 87, 88, 89 sort of thing, you would either have guff tuners that were just terrible and you'd have to replace them, or it would have branded ones. Nothing really in the middle. Whereas Matsumoto had like some sort of deal going on with Goto where they just got unbranded tuners that were Goto and you'd never need to change them. Aria Pro 2 Cat is nice plywood tone wood. Yes, I think it is. It's not. We're not talking about plywood like what you get in B&Q. You know, it's Plywood, as in it's made of layers of wood, but it's not that stuff stuff you use for the floor in your shed. It's a different thing. It's something I can tell it this if you're ever kind of when I sell this is one you could really use to show off to folk who your snobs who will only buy an American Strat and go have a shot of this and they'll go, oh, that's really good. Is this handmade? And you're like, you're not. It's a plywood. It's DeVille. Who even knows what that is? But it plays really well. It's a really high quality neck. I think necks in the late 80s were fantastic. Bodies less so, and pickups, hardware less so as well. Especially pots. Back then, cheap pots were rubbish, whereas now cheap pots they're fine. I'm saying that what was that Epiphone, the SL? It had a really cheap switch on it, a really noticeably cheap switch that would actually fall to bits like a rhythm treble switch. So that maybe didn't have the best hardware, but if you're talking about spending like a tenner on a set of, on a couple of pots, yeah, you're laughing. Epiphone, I'm aware, Billy, that Epiphone, my pal Wayne was talking about it. He's ordered one from his local, I can't remember what guitar shop it is. I don't think it's local. It's one of the big chains. And the guy who owns it, should I be putting this live on the internet? I haven't told you which company it is because I can't remember. But there's a special promo code at this place. And the promo code's 2112 because he's a mad Rush fan. He's in a Rush band. I can't remember what they're called. And I think Wayne he's ordered one, basically, to try and get one. The first one to come into the country did about 750 quid or 800 quid, something like that. With the Alex Lifeson thing. And it's like, if you're a mad Rush fan, why not? I don't know if I'd really want I don't want a Les Paul. I'd probably less want a Les Paul with a Floyd Rose on it, if I'm honest. But if you're mad into Rush, which you are, a lot of Rush fans are mad into it, know every lyric of every album, and it's like, have you heard this album? It's like, of course, every single album. That Rush album I don't have. Chambered plywood, why not? Why not? Tokai 80s tellies, yeah. Is that the breezy sound? There's like a breezy sound and a springy sound. I think the springy sound's the Strat. Yes, but you're not going to find one of them for the price I want to pay. If you're going to pay, if I was looking at Japanese Telecasters or Japanese Fenders or older American ones, that's the sort of price range you're in with the Tokai one, not in the sort of, I could buy an entry-level Squire or, that's where I am. Rush suck. Oh, dear. You can't say Rush suck. They don't suck. They're difficult, and they used to make me feel sick, which actually, my pal Wayne, I went to Bathgate to a Rush convention thing, Rush Fest it was called, being the only person there who didn't know every single, I like the album Hemispheres, and their producer for nearly all their albums, their first 6 albums, whatever it is, Terry Brown I think his name was there giving a talk about when he was recording, talking about details. Folk are going, what sort of compressors did you use on the drum track? And right. But we met him afterward, and Wayne started having a pint after it. We were pure slam drunk. Wayne's like, yeah, Malcolm, I dragged him along. He doesn't like Rush, says they make him feel sick. And that Terry Jones pure spat his drink out, was absolutely pissing himself laughing. It was hilarious. I was pure appalled. I think it's maybe just my face going, you can't say that. I did say that before. I don't know what Bubbles made Rush. I don't know what that means. Wanky. No. Hemispheres is good. And if you're in the mood, not for it, but it's. EDA's man. Is it man? Is it man? Yeah, possibly. Other way around. ADE, I think. But no hate. Anyone can like anything apart from Oasis because they do suck. Rush, I don't think they suck at all. I think it's a mad combination of people. What were the chances of getting 3 people that all wanted to do that? A crazy way of looking at it. Because obviously the 3 of them are just mental. It's very complicated. Oh, getting a bit of a rush thing going on. I respect them. And I managed to sit through I struggled, just to be honest, to sit through the tribute band that was on at that Rush Fest. It became a bit too much with everyone there pure crying and singing every single word. I really feel sorry for that tribute band, because I mean, if they're sitting there and it's like, the guy playing the guitar and he's like, he plays an A minor here instead of here like it is in the record, everybody there's going to go, you're playing that the wrong position on the record. So it must be a really tough gig. Ever play a 70s Electra Strat? I think a 70s Electra Strat is likely, again, pointing at the Flying V, which is just handling on the wall. I think it's like a Matsumoku one. If it says steel adjustable neck on the back, steel adjustable neck made in Japan, then it's made at Matsumoku. If it says that, it is. If it says there's another one that sounds something similar to not quite steel adjustable neck, but something like that, then it's a Matsumoku. Not all Matsumokus do say that from the time, though. The serial doesn't mean anything if it's got a serial number, and if it does, then it is. I've never seen, but I don't know who Bubbles is. Sorry, Blackfoot Talks. Marillion have that one song that I really like, the one that sounds like The Who. Incommunicado. That's a great song. I did actually sit through a Fish solo concert one time when I was completely hammered at a festival down south, which was good. When people say a band sucks, I say, well, how many songs have you written? Yeah, but that doesn't work, because look at, I say Oasis suck, and it's like, so Noel Gallagher could easily say to me, how many million albums have you sold? And it's like, none at all, but it's still shit. But Rush are good. My favourite one, if you say a band sucks, is Primus. Primus sucks because everyone says Primus sucks, including the fans. I think there might even be an album called that. Antoria Setneck V was my main guitar. I can imagine. Antoria, I've got an Antoria Telecaster down there, which is, if I pick it up, I think I'll rip the cables at the back of the telly, unfortunately. But they had some great stuff. A 80s Tube Screamer, 400 quid. Sorry, I'm not paying £400 for a pedal, especially not one that's just that. I think my Washburn Stack in a Box is sort of like a Tube Screamer. But it depends where you go. I don't even know what a TS10 is. Not normally a TS8. Is that the normal one? Again, it depends what it is you're trying to do. Yeah, Belly, well done for still sticking in, even though someone said Rush sucks. I'm sure they were just partially joking, because nobody can not laugh at Rush. They're hilarious. They're good stuff. I think the 80s stuff's maybe a little bit, or maybe the later on stuff, but some of it's pure amazing. And it's like, I pure love that riff. I just wish it didn't change tempo and then do another bit that's completely different. But there's always something like, what's the one on Hemispheres? It's an amazing song. If it was just a single or something, you would purely go, oh, is that Rush? Because it's got a slight sort of that kind of impossible to dance to thing going on about it, but not pure over the top, which quite a lot of Rush stuff is, where it's like pure diddle 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 dunk 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 5 6 7 diddle dun 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 2 3 dun 4 5 diddle bump 6 7 8 9 bam 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 bam. It's kind of a little bit tanky, a little bit techie. Have I ever heard of a band called the Black Star Riders? No, I've heard them, I've seen them, and they've signed my denim jacket over there. I'm now thinking, is that Black Star Riders? It was. That's Scott Gorham from Thin Lizzy. I'm pretty sure. Oh. Jez, the biggest band that sucks is Trapped. They might very well do, but the thing, my main gripe of, again, the really band I don't like, the bands I always considered suck, like U2, is because they were really, really popular, and I kept getting hit with it. I wouldn't have hated Oasis if I'd only ever heard a couple of songs, once or twice. It's when they're just on the radio all the time and on TV shows and everyone loves them, and it's like, That's where the real resentment kicked in, because how can nobody hear what I hear, how bad it is? The TS10 could be. I don't even know anything about Tube Screamers. I should really get one. The Behringer one. Yeah, I mean, I think you get over the Behringer thing is basically, I saw that Josh from JHS Pedals. I like his. Someone asked me before what channels I watch. I do watch Josh. I do like him. He's funny. I don't really know much of what he's talking about, but he's kind of got the right attitude to me. But yes, the Behringer pedals, and it's the only thing everyone always mentions is it's in a plastic case. I don't know how durable it is. They look pretty much durable to me, and you're talking about £20 a pop. So if you really want it to be durable, why don't you just buy two? And then you can have one just in your gig bag, just in case you do stomp on it and break it, which I don't think is going to happen. I've got the Super Fuzz there. Can't quite get on with it. I'm going to give it another proper shot. It's just like, I think it's just got too many things on it. I think there's really that many funny time signatures, Baradine. I know I can see you're not a Rush fan. I'm Rush agnostic. No, I do. I like them. I think they're good. I think I'm not developed enough to fully understand them. I never really understood about Rush is how people could like them if they didn't play guitar and drums and bass and were into things like that. But it's not that silly. I don't think there's really any wanky time signatures as such. I think it's just a case of going, we'll play this bit, diddle-a-diddle-a-do, and then stop, and then it does something else. I think it's still all 4/4. It's just like a mad change. Like at this point, we're going to suddenly make it half the speed and play in a different key, sort of kind of thing. Which it does kind of work. Malcolm does not suck. I do suck a bit, like Primus does. I've got Exit Stage left, I think, but I think it's a double album, and I've only got one of the records, and I've not got the good record. Can't quite remember. Did I just see Lordy? Lordy were a Univision band, so who goes? All this hate for Rush. Yeah, but trying to alleviate it, we're going for Styx. I know they've got an album called Pieces of Eight. This might be really good, but I mean, I do like Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. From, I think the first time I heard that was on My Name is Errol. There's a bit where it's like, well, I kind of stare at someone's house and the kid's like, up here, yeah, I've got a strobe light. It's like, no way, there's up here. Yeah, so after dinner, we'll go upstairs and I'll put on Dr. Roboto. Like, it's like, and then that's what the end is over the credits, is the two of them going, I got a secret, a strobe light. Like, it made it good for me, so I like that. I know they have something more, that was their sort of 80s super commercial cheesy phase, but nothing previous to that's really made me jump up. I think it's good, but it wasn't catchy enough. Maxons are expensive. That's who made the original ones. Oasis, the band that made 10 Million Schemers Take Up the Guitar. Yeah, so that's in my last rant about Oasis. Like, that is the one thing I say. Yes, he did make lots of people play the guitar. My head does not know, it sucks. I understand, but even Hemispheres, really? Even Hemispheres? Cameron, I think Liam's all right. It's Noel that's a knob. At least Liam knows he's like, I'm just a singer with a stupid haircut. It's like, we're here to sell the band. The only thing that Liam really got wrong was thinking that Noel's an amazing songwriter, and is that he's not. So, yeah. Kaylee was a Marillion ones. I can't remember what that one goes like. Music is very subjective. I'm assuming everyone's in good spirits here anyway. It's like, you say something sucks, it's not actually, you don't actually want to kill people for liking it. It's like, totally fair enough. Let's have a good fun argument where the ultimate answer doesn't matter. It's like, let's do a strong super debate and you not end up hating the other person, because ultimately it doesn't really matter. But I just don't think there's a thing for Rush being technically very good and very clever. You can't take that away. They're technically very good and very clever, and what they do really well. Don't like it. I can totally understand why you don't like it, but it's not rubbish. There's a difference, whereas Oasis is rubbish. I'm getting really stuck into No Gallagher tonight. How's it going, Bucky? I'm past the label. I don't think I'm quite at half a bottle yet. I'm approaching half a bottle, so the aggression will be coming out. And no, you said you can't like all music. I don't trust someone who does like all music, because I think if you like everything, you can't truly love any of it, because I truly love some things and truly can't stand other things. So I like the extreme. So you're in the middle, it means you kind of, kind of like it. Whereas I've got like pure back pure, yes, Black Sabbath Subs Universe, and like pure, oh no, Streets of No Name, oh yeah, it's like, oh, oh that. Here we go. Eloy, do you not suck? I don't know who Eloy are. Not ELO. I know ELO. They're quite good. Edgar Broughton Band. I know the name. I don't know them. Tad don't suck. Jack Pepsi. I don't know who these. These are all bands I don't know. So I mean, I can't say something sucks if I haven't listened to it. I'm gonna have to have my steaming fingers are starting to create. Right. Right. Making sense now. Right. How am I? Almost catching up now. Any who's glad to catch a stream, Malcolm. Cheers. Tad and Mudhoney. I recognise the names. I don't know any of these bands. It's disgusting, isn't it? Cameron, well retracted. Nola's the knob. Nola's the one who thinks it's like, but the thing is, he knows he's not very good. That's the thing that's so annoying about it. He's like, up here, yeah, well, the thing is, I could learn to play the guitar properly and spend some time writing a really emotional song, because I like some good music, but that's not what will sell. What will sell is giving the idiots chewing gum music with exactly the same rhythm. It's like a really simple melody that anybody can sing. That's where they got their money. You got a style for stuff. Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter. You're a bad person. It's not like believing in Boris Johnson or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like they may have some sort of problem there, but no problem with like Oasis if you want. I think Bono has it. Bono is. I noticed you said Bonio as well, which is obviously better because that's like the type of dog food I remember stuck at the co-op. Really, I don't. The thing about U2, relatively recently, there's a few U2 songs I actually think are pretty good. That one, that's a good song. But I saw that if you've not seen it, watch it. Things Might Get Loud, or It Might Get Loud with it's kind of like, it's not really the history of the electric guitar. It's just three folk talking about guitar. It's Jimmy Page, Jack White, and The Edge. And The Edge is brilliant, and you can't watch that and not like The Edge. It's like the bit where he's talking about his effects unit, and he's like a wee 4-track stereo, and he went into the band. He's like, up here, I've got this great song. They're like, up here, and that's basically it. And he's up here. You can imagine the band up here, and it's like when you turn on the echo thing, and it just goes down, and it's like one of the big massive hits where it's just like all echoey and repeats, and it's all very clever. And he's just a lovely guy. I really like him. I like The Edge. No, I don't necessarily like U2. I don't like any of their songs. Jeff Beck is amazing. Play F sharp major with the open high E and B. I don't know how to do that. Is that like a challenge? So I've got to try and. I'll need to work on that. That doesn't sound that easy. I will put on the flying V just because it looks cool though. The chances of it being in tune are 1,000,000 to 1, he says. Was I playing it earlier on? I think I played it actually. Got an original 70s rainbow strap on it as well. I was just saying the chances of it being in tune were 1,000,000 to 1. No, okay. This has been in the attic. Obviously, I tuned it up the other day and now it's hot in here, so things have changed. These are very expensive feeling machine heads, so they are. those two chords are in Rush. These were the priests of the Temple of the Shrinks. Do you ever watch Ralph.com's channel? View of Bucksock this week. Described as Wreck the Hoose Juice. I've described it as Wreck the Hoose Juice before. I don't know if you spelled juice right. I think it's Jooce. But I don't know. It's like, no, you can't fight over whether Rush are good. The way you fight over Rush is the person who thinks they're good plays a riff by Rush, and then the person who doesn't think they're good plays a riff by Rush better. That would sort of. Oh, hold on. I just saw something that was quite funny. Chris Martin of Coldplay and Sting, some of the best songwriters. Sting is hilarious, and I really love Message in a Bottle. And what was that one I saw recently that I was the really 80s one? It's Synchronicity. Dum 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 dum. I thought it was an amazing song, a brilliant video as well. And they're kind of playing in a Mad Max junkyard. Fantastic. I thought Make It Loud was really good. I really enjoyed it, even though, okay, I like Led Zeppelin, but it was more, I don't know, I just basically it was The Edge. I thought The Edge was pure awesome. Jack White came across as a bit of an arty type, and Jimmy Page. There's a bit where he's talking about, what's the song? Is it the Link Ray song? He's listening to that. And it's like when you see Jimmy Page kind of making facial expressions while listening to this single, you realise he's all right. It's the way it's pure late. It's pure late. Oh, that's really sludgy and fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I'm saying that I've only watched it once, so maybe the second time through it won't be good. Bono is a Noah stooge and he loves Boris. Is that New World Order? I don't know what they are. The Edge is cool until he switches off the delays. Maybe. But he's a cool guy. It's what I'm thinking. George Lynch, Chris Bodrick, 2-part guitar hang on YouTube. Some real gems. I think I do know who George Lynch are. Who George Lynch is. I think. Coldplay truly so badly stuck. Well, they might, but here's the thing. By that time, I wasn't being subjected to Coldplay, so I've never really heard any. I don't think I've heard a Coldplay song, like even for like a 30-second snippet, for more than half a dozen or more than a couple of times. It's not like Oasis were pure blasted with it all the time. And they did do a piss take of Game of Thrones, which I really enjoyed. They're talking about Chris Martin has kind of, they're all talking about him going mad and wanting to do all these concept albums. He bases one on Game of Thrones, and it's like red wedding, and a lot of beheadings, and it's really funny for like I think it's comic relief or something like that. But he's playing on the thing that everyone thinks he's a knob. Obviously, he might actually be like that, so that's what makes it cool. Blur are cool. They are cool, but so Oasis are really cool. They're not good at all, but they're really cool, and that was the point. Blur, I really liked them. Like some of their songs, but the singer used to annoy me in Blur, Damon Albarn, with his nah. Yeah, didn't like that. Stooges and MC5, I missed them. I did buy MC5 Kick Out the Jams on CD years after I'd heard Sabbath and Zeppelin and so was it really the same with the Stooges as well? Maybe because they're American, you maybe heard them over on that side of the world a bit more than we have, because we had like the Stones and stuff instead. Maybe if I'd heard it first, but I mean I do have it, Kick Out the Jams, and I did. I really only know Stooges from that Grand Theft Auto game. Had yeah. No, talking about Blur now. Blur. I mean, they're musical. They believed in what they were doing, and it's like, it's maybe not my thing. Okay, so I'm not saying they're rubbish. It's maybe not 100% my thing, but they do have some songs I really like. Just that whole Britpop thing I wasn't really that keen on, and obviously they were mad into it. But they were definitely one of the better ones, and they had integrity and music in there. They weren't just churning out stuff for people who didn't like music, but liked the idea of being in a band, or being into a band. Something else, sorry, Tony Levin. I'm not sure that name. Lunch Mob. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit. Great Escape. I know the one. That's the one that's got. Oh, now I've forgotten. I'll tell you why I remember that. It's got. Oh, why can't I remember the company that made the boat on the front? Is it a Sunseeker? It's not a Bayliner. Is it a Bayliner that's on the front of it? That's all. There's like a girl diving off the back of a speedboat. I knew I was into boat. I'm into boats, so I knew that. You have to pay me money to make you play Rush. Well, they get paid. Early Police. I think basically Police Greatest Hits rule. Link Railroads, and yeah, okay. It could very much very DE, yeah. Yeah. It's the same, but just in the wrong key. Yeah. I, to be honest, I think the only time I've ever heard that song is in that film. So I do appreciate how awesome it is, but maybe we should listen to it a bit more. Rumble. Please don't get me to Coldplay. I can't play you Coldplay, so that's all right. Message in a Bottle is awesome. It is, yes. Hey David, don't worry. I played the Mockingbird very earlier on, so you can rewatch it later. I was talking about you earlier, so you have to watch the whole thing to see when I was talking about you, when I was calling you a bastard behind your back. Oh, joking. Lead guitarist in Dawkin writes, he's one of the people I think I've seen in guitar magazines, but I've never really known who it is. I don't know who started the band thing. I think somebody said Rush sucked. It's like, which, that's fine, but I'd take that as a compliment. Like my pal Wayne told Rush's producer that I thought they made me feel sick. So, yeah, I'm sure I've heard worse. A Priest, Maiden, Wobham tribute band together, man. Dio era Sabbath. We were actually talking about maybe doing a Dio era Sabbath song on the Black Sabbath band, even though we're very much Aussie era. Eddie Hazel, I don't know who he is, but rest in peace, Eddie, whoever he is. That's that's brilliant. Jack White, The Edge. I heard Ramble On, brilliant. U2 song of learned some nice acoustic. Yes, you say what you want. Right, okay. All right, Tony Levin's a bass player with a Chapman stick. Yes, I do know exactly who he is. Yes, he's amazing. That Chapman stick thing is sick. He's a bald waistcoat, maybe even a small moustache and glasses. Yes, I do know him. Lovely. March to the Witch's Castle. Maggot Brain. Best tune of all time. Is Maggot Brain not Funkadelic or Funkadelica? Funk 5, no. I feel I should know Maggot Brain. I think I can picture the album cover. Is it like a girl with an afro buried up to her neck in dirt? Could be that one. I don't know. I didn't get it last time I heard it, but because I was playing with Jesse, I could maybe understand. Eddie Hazel, Funkadelic guitarist. Okay, yeah. So because I've played. I'm one person removed from playing of most of Funkadelic. Because Jesse, his album and his singles has got Bernie Worrell and Steve Jordan and Roger Troutman and all these people on the album. So I've kind of played bass with Jesse, who previous bass player playing that song was one of them. So kind of a wee bit into Funkadelic. I don't have enough of it. The records were never cheap enough. The band's going great. Both of them are going great. That mad gig I've been talking about has been cancelled though because coronavirus ain't over yet. So it's on another couple of months later, which has actually worked out quite well because the drummer in the Sabbath band's going for an operation a couple of days before it, which he was going to do anyway. It meant he couldn't drink, and also it means that we've got a chance to actually write an entire 40-minute set of original material for the Cranking House band I'm playing guitar in. Whereas the way it was going was we were going to be playing sort of 15 minutes of original material and then a couple of covers and a bit of a extended solos for me to try and pad the songs out a little bit to try and make it up to 40 minutes. We've got kind of 2 songs that we can play pretty well, and then about another 3 or 4 songs that we could stab our way through. Don't mind stumbling through one, but not through 3 or 4. Rocking. So I've caught up and we've got to the end. Was there any questions that I've missed so far? Anyone wants to ask now before I wrap up? It's kind of trying to aim for about an hour and a half before I get too drunk. It's going to get to the point where an hour and a half I've drank an entire bottle of Bucky. It's going to happen. I can just accept it. And well done, whoever it was that won the t-shirt. Message me at Mad Malco Guitars or leave a message in here and I'll look over at the back and I'll do a private message thing and I'll send me a message and I'll send you a free t-shirt for guessing correctly that guitar. Why am I putting? Yeah, it's bizarre. Obviously steaming. That guitar, what the Switch did, which was great. Waiting to start. All that caffeine is just. What you want a fight? Really? I really feel like just going outside and running around the block. It really, Bucky does have an incredible charge to it. I love you too, Ballardino. I think my other go-to is E, G, G. I'll put the E in the end. It's AC/DC in it. Love you all. Lots of stuff happening during the week. You'll see the videos when they come. Good night, Daniel and Ballardino and Billy Lithgow, Billy and Ruben, and everyone. Love doing this. It's great. I'm really looking forward to it. I was really thinking about it last night, thinking could really do with a Bucky, and I was like, no, I'll save it for tomorrow night because then I can go online and do some online drinking. Kirk even plays that exact look of V in the DVD. Kirk Hammett is this? No, it is this one. Where it goes is his is a Japanese one the same as this. Like mine's badged Arbiter. His would have been Electra, but it's the same guitar bolt on neck. He painted this white. Put a Gibson Trusher cover, Seymour Duncan pickups on it. So there you go. So I've still got 30 seconds before it makes an hour and a half. I'll just make it an hour and a half at that. So love you all. Fantastic. Great fun. Love it all. Strike the like, because apparently that's good. If I get more likes, then I get more pushed into other people's streams and stuff, which is great. All right, it's an ESP, right? Okay, it's a modern one, but I did when I looked up this, he did have he had recently redone his original one for that Death Magnetic album. Was the thing. He got his original one, which is the same as this, fixed up. Rock on, everyone. Love you all. Made it an hour and a half. Catch you later. And then again now. Rockin'. Woohoo!